Hey guys, just wanted to add before the video starts, this is a long video, but we talk about a lot. We talk about pay in regards to being an owner-operator. We talk about maintenance in regards to being an owner-operator, and we talk about how the industry has changed overall over Stan's time being in the trucking industry and what he thinks. We do tell some war stories at the end, which is very enjoyable. I always enjoy doing that with another truck driver and everything. But Stan's going to post part of this video. He was recording the first half of the video up until my battery died. And he's going to post that on his channel. Just us talking or whatever. He's going to edit it down and everything. And then the idea is the rest of the video will be available on my channel. And I'm going to go ahead and post the whole video now. It's certainly something that I wanted to talk to him about. And everything was something I'd already thought of as far as talking to him about is concerned. So, I'm going to give it some time. I'm going to let the video kind of sit and collect views. I want as many people as possible to see it. And I want as many people as possible to be able to ask questions. I'm going to have a Q&A after the video. I'd say in 2 weeks, okay? So I'll try to set the Q&A up for, let's look at the calendar here. Let's see, today is Sunday the 6th. We did the video yesterday on the 5th. I will try to set up I think his video will be out the following Monday. So not the 7th, but it'll be out on the 14th. And so I will try to set up a Q&A for the 19th. And that gives other people that may not be on my channel the ability to come over, watch the video, and then ask questions. So we will set up a Q&A for the 19th of June, which happens to be my birthday. That'll be my first Q&A, so that'll be my birthday present to me, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. So please enjoy the video, and just enjoy two old truckers talking. So I appreciate it, guys.
There you go.
Yeah, there we are. Okay.
America!
It's your video too, Make sure you want. So. All right, so hey everybody. So it's Big Mike here, and you know this guy if you watch his channel. If you don't, this is Sasnak.
Stan.
Yeah. So we're out here at his shop. I'm lucky enough to have him nearby. He's an old truck driver, and I can sit around and chit chat with him when we're both at home and talk more stories.
Who are you calling old?
I'm calling you old. I don't know if you know that or not, but yeah.
Hey, folks.
My birthday's coming up in a couple weeks. My mom, we were at a restaurant the other day. My mom goes, "What do you want for your birthday?" And the first thing popped into my head was peace and quiet. She goes, "Getting old."
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So anyway. So I was talking to him the other day on the phone, and we were discussing getting together and kind of sitting around. I told him, I said, I kind of want to sit around and kind of find out some things from you. Being that you have 34 years of experience in the industry, and I have 8 years of experience in the industry. Just swap war stories at some point, but generally try to talk about some stuff. I think a lot of people that follow Stan's channel, a lot of people that follow my channel, are interested in becoming owner-operators or work in their direction and becoming owner-operators. And there's some things I didn't know when I first started out on, in trucking, especially owner-op. I kind of went through the school of hard knocks trying to find out about it. And luckily, I've made some very good decisions over the years, and it's kind of led me down the right path. I've said before on my channel that only by the grace of God have I gotten where I'm at. And that's certainly true. But once in a while, I run across people like Stan who they know what they're talking about and don't pay any attention to him, that know what they're talking about. And I can ask advice and everything. And I think that some of the advice that he's given me, especially recently, I think would be is something that should be on camera for others that are looking to be owner-operators. So, you think that's right?
Huh? Oh, you talking to me now?
Yeah. Now I'm talking to you. I was talking to them, now I'm talking to you. So.
I don't know nothing.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, we can swap some stories here and stuff. What'd you drop?
I don't know what I dropped.
Oh, your glasses.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay. Those are my beatnik glasses.
Here. Let's see what you look like. Now that's a cool dog there.
Anyway, so
oh, don't sneeze on me.
Oh.
No, get down.
yeah, come on, come over here. So anyway,
she's photobombing us.
yeah, well, she is cuter than we are, so
yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're gonna talk about pay first. So let's go ahead and start with that. So what do you want to say?
I make exactly $12.70 a year. No.
That's for
what do you want to know
IRS
about
purposes.
pay? Like what it was back in the day? And
Well, I think you've had 34 years of experience in the industry,
Okay.
and certainly things have changed a lot. You know, the CDL in '91 when it changed, I know about that.
I didn't have, when I started, it wasn't a CDL, it was a Class A chauffeur's license. And it's still a Class A license, but it's a Class A CDL.
Yeah, commercial driver's license.
It's all regulated by the government, you know, the feds now. It used to be state by state by state.
Yeah.
And now it's all. The problem, what happened on that, for the most part, the reason we have CDLs is because back in the day, in the 70s, 80s, whatever, drivers would get driver's license out of several states. So let's say you're from Texas. You get an Arkansas and Oklahoma license. Okay. So if you're out in Colorado or California, you get a speeding ticket, you put on that Arkansas license. You know? So they wanted to put a stop to that because, you know, then when you go home, you get your clean Texas driver's license and you show that to the insurance company and keep your rates down. You know, it was all that kind of stuff. Or you get so many tickets and everything, well, you just get rid of the Arkansas license and go with the Oklahoma, but you never dirty your Texas license or whatever state you're from. And a lot of drivers did that. I never did. I had a Texas and a Kansas license at the same time. I wasn't a truck driver though. I was in the Army.
Okay.
And I had a Kansas driver's license. When they sent me down here to Fort Hood, Texas, I got a Texas license. Actually, I got a Texas license for a motorcycle.
Really?
Okay. When I was in the Army, I got a motorcycle, and I needed a motorcycle license, so I went and got a Texas motorcycle license. And in my head, I thought it was a Kansas driver's license for cars and a Texas motorcycle license, you know. And he goes, no, the motorcycle license is good for cars too. You got to give one or the other up. So he took my Kansas driver's license.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, hope the wind doesn't mess us up here. But anyway, we got wind muffs and everything. It's probably pretty good. So
yeah. By the way, I invested in camera equipment.
Yeah,
so I'll talk about that later.
Yeah, on another video probably.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's where CDLs came in the early '90s, and because I'd been driving for at that time about 4 years, I was grandfathered in, so I didn't have to go down and do all the testing, you know, because already, you know, he knows what he's doing, kind of.
Yeah.
And
when you were, I guess one of the questions that I have about being grandfathered in, though, when you were grandfathered in, were you given all of the endorsements that go along with that? So you can do anything. You can do doubles and.
Yeah,
and
I can't do hazmat anymore. Back back in '09 or something like that. Yeah. They heightened the. You had to get a background check and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I thought, you know, I'm never going to haul hazmat ever again. So why bother? So I have all my endorsements, but I left. I mean, your doubles and passenger, you know, buses and all that kind of stuff.
You can drive anything.
I can haul any. I can drive anything, but I can't do hazmat anymore.
Okay.
Which to me is a good thing. I don't want to haul.
Oh yeah.
To me, hazmat. I mean, yeah, it pays. The thing is, most companies that are just regular freight companies, you know, and they, hey, you got to have hazmat to work over here, but they don't pay anything more for it.
Yeah.
You know, so and I just every time you have hazmat on, it's just like this huge red flag when you pull across the scale. Pull around back. Let's inspect you. Well, then if you're not going to pay me any more for it, then why should I put up with the headache?
Yeah.
You know, but at the time. When that came out in '09, I started my own reefer business hauling food, and I'm thinking I'm never going to haul hazmat, and I thought that was going to be the last business I ever did.
Yeah.
Just do that until I retire someday.
Okay.
And I got burnt out on it. You know, work too much. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I got tired, and just I said to heck with it. And I got out of the reefer business altogether, and that's when I went and bought big trucks like this and do what I do now. So.
Okay.
But
what did you? So we were going to talk about pay. We said that.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, we got off a little bit.
I have ADHD. I'm pretty sure he does too. He's probably not going to admit it, but I think we it's like squirrel. You know, fun subject. You know, and but anyway, okay. So when you started out first, your first trucking job, how much did you get paid?
15 cents a mile.
15 cents.
But it was hub mile, not book mile.
Oh,
there's a
okay.
difference.
So whatever the
Do you know the
whatever
difference? Book mile and hub mile?
hub mile. My understanding of hub mile is they pay you for every mile the truck drives.
On the odometer.
And book mile is at the time they paid you from post office to post office or something like that, or
household
zip code
mover
to zip
guide.
code.
Household mover guide.
Okay.
You're you're all familiar with the moving companies like United or Allied or Mayflower and all those companies.
Yeah.
When they move your household belongings from point A to point B, they have this big book. It was like a great big encyclopedia, or like a great big yellow pages. I mean, it's a real thick book, and it had it was a chart, and it showed all the different towns in the country, and you could go through it. It's all on computer now, but back then it was in a book. It was a household movers guide, and it said from St. Louis to Phoenix, Arizona is that many miles.
Okay.
Well, to actually drive, there was the crow fly, just straight line distance. Well, no highway is straight like that. So by the time you go around the curves and up over mountains and things like this, by the time you get there, you're 10% more than the book says.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what book miles. Now book miles they had as the crow flies, and they also had practical miles.
Okay.
But even the practical miles was 7 or 8% less than we actually drove. So you say from point A to point B, they say it's 1,000 miles. You'd have to drive 1,090 to get there.
Okay.
Okay. More likely about 1,100 and something to get there. So you got paid for the 1,000 miles, not for the 1,100 that you actually really drove.
On the book miles.
On book miles. Now
Okay.
on hub miles, they just go off the odometer. Okay. And the first company I worked for, they had odometers, but they also had a hub meter on the wheel.
Oh yeah, I remember those
Hub meters.
Kid,
a lot of trailers have them nowadays, but trucks don't hardly have. But they put them on the truck, and every week when you come home, or every 2 weeks, whenever I was usually home every week or every other week, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'd come in, and when you pulled through it was a small company, but they still had this like fuel line. When you pulled in, they'd fuel for you and all that. You'd pull in, stop the truck in front of the fuel line, and there's a guy out there that filled the truck up and everything, and wrote down the mileage and everything. And you're in there turning paperwork and all that kind of stuff in.
Stay over here.
And that's what you got paid on, is whatever he wrote down on that odometer.
Yeah.
And I got paid 15 cents a hub mile, and then I got a 1 cent bonus for safety. I didn't mess anything up, no wrecks, or just tearing things up, ripping a tarp or things like that. Safety. Okay. Backing over a street sign or something, whatever. Messing something up at a customer, whatever it might be. That was a safety bonus, and then they also had an appearance bonus.
Okay.
And the appearance bonus, it was about image. That company, they really liked the image. They didn't want skanky old nasty truck drivers and dirty trucks. So they would pay to have your truck. You can stop at truck washers and get the truck washed once a week. So you get the truck washed, and then you keep yourself and the inside of the cab. How many of these trucks have you seen where there's tons and tons of paperwork up on the dash? How does the driver even see out? You open the door and trash falls out. That they didn't want that, because it looks bad to the customer.
It does.
It's about appearance. Now, a lot of companies don't do anything about that anymore, but back then that was kind of the thing. So I got basically at 17 cents a hub mile.
Okay.
And I thought I was rich, and you figure that out. And we averaged about 3,000 miles a week. Got a call. About 3,000 miles a week times 0.17. $510, and I thought I was rich.
In 87, right?
It was 87.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that wasn't bad money back then.
In 87.
That wasn't bad. That'd be more of equivalent to like $1,000 today.
Yeah.
Something like that. But then that was hub mile, paid by the mile, hub mile, and then also got like tarping fees and stuff like that. Because it was a flatbed.
Yeah, flatbed.
Went to my second company. I left that company and went to my second company after about a year and a half. And he said, "We're going to pay you 20." I'm like, "Cool." Well, no, 20%.
Oh, 20%.
And I learned real quick, 20% of zero. How much is that? Let me calculate that up.
I can do that math in my
20% of very little pay is very little pay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a disaster. I only worked there for about 4 or 5 months and realized I learned a lesson. And it's one of those you live and learn kind of things, and that's on the job training. And you can get back to the truck driving schools and all that. See, I didn't go to truck driving school, so you learn this stuff as you went.
Yeah.
I started 15 plus the bonus, 17 cents a mile. And now drivers nowadays, what's a typical driver make nowadays?
You know, I've got a friend that works for Stevens, and I think when he's doing the contractor division now, that was his choice, and I think he was doing like 38 cents a mile,
Okay.
or something like that on the over the road. So
Getting
between 36
close to
38,
3,000,
yeah.
2,800 miles, something like that?
Yeah, about 2,800 miles.
Times what was it, 30?
I'd say 38 cents a mile.
38?
Yeah.
See, that's 1,064. So,
Yeah.
So it's like double.
So,
but what can you buy
before
with that?
taxes.
But well, mine was before taxes too.
Yeah, yeah.
But what can you buy with that 1,000 compared to 30 years
40,
ago?
yeah.
It's about the same.
Yeah,
It really probably hasn't raised much. It kind of kept even with inflation, if not maybe lost ground. I don't. But I mean, I was working at a warehouse before I started that trucking company. I was working at a warehouse. Actually, I was running route delivery here in Texas.
Okay.
And I was bringing home maybe $350 a week. So when I went and started making $500, I'm like, ching, I'm in the money now. So pay with trucking. We were talking about this before we started the cameras up. The pay in trucking. How much does a truck driver make? Well, it depends. It depends on what you're doing in trucking.
It does.
How much does a racer make? How much does a racer make?
I don't know.
Well,
It depends on the race. It depends on the racer.
It depends on what you're racing.
Yeah, it depends on what you're racing.
If you're a NASCAR driver, you make really good money racing.
Yeah, but if you're a dirt track driver,
or
in a local series, then you're not going to make a whole lot.
Yeah, but there's all kinds. There's so many different kinds of trucking. It's like saying, well, I'm a trucker. Well, that just kind of gives you a general that I'm not a plumber or an electrician. It just says you drive a vehicle for a living.
Yeah.
There's so many different kinds of trucking. Just like there's so many different kinds of, you got NASCAR, you got top fuel dragster, you got horse racing.
Yeah.
You've got the Olympics. People running. 100-yard dash racing. There's so many different kinds of racing. So I'm a racer. What does that mean? You might race remote control cars around.
Yeah.
You don't get paid anything for that. I mean, so there's so many. I'm a trucker. That's so vague. Well, what kind of a trucker? What do you do? What do you haul? What kind of are you a company driver, owner, operator? It's such a hard question. If people ask me on my channel all the time, well, how much do truck drivers make? Well, it depends on what you're doing, And like if you're just starting out at like Stevens Transport as a student, you're not going to make very much while you're training. Once you get in your truck, you'll make a little bit better, probably more than flipping burgers. It's 2 years later, once you put your dues in, okay, that's when you can start making, a year later even. Yeah. That's when you can start making better money. And if you really want to make good money, you want to specialize. You want to specialize down to something that other people don't want to do. Me personally, I don't want to haul heavy haul or oversize because I don't want to deal with all the permits and the headaches with the pilot cars and all that. Windmill blades. You don't get 3,000 miles a week hauling windmill blades. You might get 1,200 miles.
Yeah.
But you make $8 a mile. But out of that $8 a mile, as an owner operator, you got to pay for the pilot car. You got to pay for all the permits. You got to pay for all. Or if you're a company driver doing that, you're not going to make $8 a mile. You make 80 cents a mile or $1 a mile as a company. There's so many different variations. How much does a plumber make? Well, it depends on who the plumber. If you're a good plumber, if you got a lot, if you're a plumber in a little dinky town and you get 2 calls a week, you're not going to make very good money. But if you own a big plumbing company in a DFW area and you got crews and crews and crews, you're going to be filthy, probably filthy rich. It depends. I'm a trucker, so I make. There's no dead. I make exactly $50,000 a year. You can't do that with trucking. So anything more on pay or?
I think the only other question I have on that is when did you? How long were you a company driver altogether? And then when did you decide to become an owner operator?
I bought my first truck in 1999.
Okay.
And it was a used truck from a friend of mine. And people on my channel would know Kirk, the guy up in Kansas. I went to work for him. He was a trucker back then. And I went to work for him as a company driver for about 4 or 5 months. And one day he came to me and says, "Hey, when you hired on, you said you was interested in buying a truck. You know Gordon?" Yeah. Well, he quit me the other day, and his truck's empty. And if you want to get out of this truck and get into that older Peterbilt, I'll sell that Peterbilt to you.
Wow. And
he made me a sweetheart deal, and and that's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, similar. If you know his channel, he made me a really nice deal. I won't get into the details, but basically, it was, hey, I'll make you a deal you can't refuse.
Yeah.
You know, and it's been, you know, upward and better ever since, you know.
Yeah.
But I was working for him making, let's say, you know, at the time, $800 a week, you know, $800 a week, and I became an owner operator. All of a sudden, I'm making, after expenses, $2,500.
Yeah.
You know, I tripled my money or something, you know, roughly, you know, over, you know, just by getting out of this truck and getting into that truck. It was, you know, a 10-year-older truck, you know, but the price was, you know, it wasn't a $100,000 truck either.
Yeah.
You know, which would be a $180,000 truck today, you know. But it just all depends on what you do in your career. But if you really want to make money in trucking, get into trucking, learn, you know, go through the toil of, you know, putting in your dues, so to say, get a little bit of experience, and then start getting into specialized stuff. And do something you want to do. I mean, don't get into, oh, I'm going to make $1 million because I'm hauling heavy haul. But yeah, it might make you nuts. I mean, I made dang good money on my own, when I owned my own business, I owned my own authority and everything. I made really good money doing that Dallas to LA run back and forth. You know, I made really good money doing that.
Are you willing to tell us like what you made? I mean, just out of curiosity, not
$12.78.
That's all I make, IRS. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
I mean, because at that point, you own the truck.
Mm-hmm.
It was your trailer. You own the trailer, and it was under your authority, like your license and everything. So
and I got my own customers. I didn't go through brokers.
and you didn't go through brokers and everything.
Did everything 100% me. I got 100% of the pay.
Yeah.
Now I had a lot of expenses that went out after I got that pay.
Yeah.
But you know, whereas you're leased on to a company, like right now, I'm leased on to a company in Oklahoma. They take a percentage out for their office work and their permits and stuff.
Same thing for me. Yeah.
I think they take. I think I get somewhere around 70% right now.
Okay.
So they take 30% for they provide the insurance and all the paperwork, and they do all the billing. I can haul a load, and I get paid the next Friday.
Yeah.
You know, I get paperwork in by Monday. I'm paid on Friday.
Yeah.
They might not get paid for 3 months.
But when you had your own company with your own authority, did you use a factoring company or did you wait for the? Okay.
No, I just had good customers that paid me on delivery. When I showed up, they wrote a check and handed it to me for that load. You know, I had a real good company there. The company I had that went from Dallas to LA was for Chili's restaurant food. Okay. And I go around and pick up all kinds of restaurant food, and I take it to LA. They take it off my truck, put it on a shipping container, ship it to Hawaii. Okay, that's what I did on the westbound. On the eastbound, I hauled back for Asian grocery stores. Okay. In Dallas, Fort Worth, we got a lot of your major cities have ethnic areas, you know, and Dallas, Fort Worth, we got Arlington, you got Garland,
a little bit,
a little bit in Fort
Garland.
Worth. There's areas that have a lot of Asian people live in there, so they have their own grocery stores, so they can buy their, you know, octopus legs and stuff, you know. I mean, they eat some weird stuff. Now look up century eggs. Those are gross. Anyway, they're duck eggs. They're duck eggs.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Well, look it up and just don't eat one.
Don't do that.
But they have their own special foods that they like to eat, you know. And it's no different than if you live in Houston. There's Spanish neighborhoods that have Mexican, Mexican.
It's the same thing as like Little Italy in New York. Or
very exact
like
same. So I'd haul stuff back for them, and when I delivered, and I did LTL, you know what LTL is, less than truckload. Yeah. Okay. So I'd be out in LA and pick up 3 pallets for this one customer, and I'd pick 2 pallets up for a different customer, and 1 pallet for a different customer, and 5 pallets for a different customer. So think of it, LTL is kind of like what you do trucking. You load the whole truck, and it's all one truckload going from one customer to another customer. Yeah. One customer sold a truckload of widgets and took it to another customer, and they bought the widgets. Okay, you go there and you unload the whole thing. Think of that as a taxi or a limo. You bought the whole thing. It's yours. Yeah. Your truck is all yours. LTL is more like a city bus. You don't buy the whole bus. Or you don't rent the whole bus. You just rent the seat. Yeah. Okay. So you get on a bus and you got 3 people. You just rent 3 seats. Well, in the truck you rent 4 space. Yeah. So this company would say, hey, I need 3 pallets. So they just rented 3 pallet spaces for me to put their pallets on. Okay. And I'd put 20 or 22 pallets on the truck and bring it back to Dallas and deliver it. Okay. And I'd go around to all these different stores and deliver it. And that's specializing. Remember when we talked about specializing? Yeah. Nobody wants to do that. How many truckers? Oh, I'm going to go to 8 pickups. Oh, that's crazy. Well, but you get paid 3 times as much. well, it's so crazy now.
Exactly.
So,
It's like,
so you specialize in something.
Yeah.
And once you specialize, you specialize in something that most drivers aren't willing to do. Okay? I really don't want to go out and do heavy haul.
Yeah.
Somebody else does it and they make the money.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't, because I don't do that. But at the time I was doing reefer, refrigerated, not
Yeah.
reefer. But I was doing refrigerated trailers, frozen food and stuff like that. And a lot of drivers like to do that, but they want to go one place, pick up a whole load, and take it all the way across country and deliver one place.
Yeah.
And I was going 8 or 9 pickups in Dallas, taking out to LA for one customer. I'd go around, make a whole bunch of pickups, take it out to LA and deliver it one place.
Okay.
And now I'm empty. I go around LA and make, I think my record was 19 pickups in one day in LA.
Oh, wow.
But usually it's about 10 or 12. 10 or 12 pickups around LA.
That's hard to do.
It's hard.
It's hard to do one drop and pick up in LA one day.
One of the reasons I don't do it anymore is
Yeah.
because it can't work. The guy that bought my company, he can't do it anymore.
Oh, wow.
Because the electronic logbook won't let him do that. But my Friday was a really big day. I'd get up about 5 a.m., unload the truck. They'd unload the truck, but I'd be there watching them with the forklift and everything. They'd unload the truck, sign my papers. I'm out of there about 6 or 6:30. Okay, I'd leave and I'd start going around all these different places. By the time I got picked up, it's 6 or 7 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I'd leave and I'd drive from downtown LA all the way over to Arizona somewhere and go to bed. So it's midnight, 1 o'clock or something like that. That was my one big day. But then I'd slept 8 hours that night, and then Saturday morning I'd get up and I'd drive. I'd go back to El Paso. One of my customers is a Vietnamese restaurant in El Paso. I'd bring in 2 or 3 pallets to them. No dock. I had to hand stack everything. But it paid.
Yeah.
It paid, right? It paid. So you don't mind working if you get paid for it. So I'd hand stack all that down to them, and they'd take it off into their store. And once it was done, the lady would come out and she'd, here you go, here's your check. And I'd take the check, stick it in my pocket, and I'd head to Dallas. And I had a customer in Midland, Odessa, a little small Asian grocery store, delivered 1 or 2 pallets to him, okay, and then take off and head back to Fort Worth for Monday morning. I go around Monday morning, make all my deliveries, and I'm empty at the end of the day, Monday, and then I come home, do all my book work, all the filing and the fuel taxes and all that kind of stuff. I did all that filing and figuring all that stuff all Monday night, and then Tuesday morning I get up, go out, start making those 8 or 9 pickups around the DFW area, and then leave Wednesday morning to head to LA again. And I just do 7 days a week, go. Yeah. And it was a paper log, so I could kind of shift things around. And I wasn't outlaw. I mean, I only did 2,800 miles a week.
Yeah.
2,850 roughly. That's all the normal miles I did. But I mean, the mileage from Dallas to LA is what, 1,400 miles.
1,400 miles, yeah.
Plus 100 miles run around in LA and maybe 50 run around in Dallas.
Yeah.
So I'm doing 2,900 miles. 2,950, something like that. So I'm not going out and doing 5,000 miles. But I worked extremely hard on one day. But on Tuesday, I didn't really do much on Tuesday. I went around Dallas and I was done, by 5 o'clock, and I went home.
Yeah.
So Tuesday was my easy day. Wednesday and Thursday were my easy days because all I did was drive. I'd drive about halfway out, get out in New Mexico somewhere, and go to bed. Wake up the next day on Thursday and drive on into LA. Those are easy days. You're just sitting on your butt driving down the road. Friday was my killer day. Friday and Monday were my killer days. And I worked my butt off doing that. But I was never tired, sleepy tired. I was just, I need a vacation.
Yeah.
But
I get that way a lot.
I worked my butt off, but I made darn good money doing it. But when they changed the electronic logbook laws, I saw that coming. I thought, I'm not going to be able to do this. Buy an older truck. Now you don't have to paper logs.
Yeah.
You can't take an older truck into California because of the emission laws.
Yeah.
So it's time, just finally just throw your hands up and say, well, the government screwed me out of my job.
Yeah.
And you go
out of your specialization.
Right, specialized. So and by then I was getting financially where why do I work so damn hard? So I started looking around for other ways of making a living, and I don't make near as much doing what I do now. Make about half maybe.
To go back to the original question,
how much do I make?
Are you willing? Well, let me ask this back because not everybody's comfortable with telling people, and this is going to be public because it's going to go out on YouTube. But are you willing to give us me a ballpark about what you like?
My best year, I probably made about $300,000 in revenue.
Okay.
But then I had $150,000 or $120,000 worth of expenses.
Okay.
So what I actually put in my pocket is a little over $100,000 or $150,000 in 1 year. Okay. Other years weren't quite that good, but still,
brokers.
100%.
Just 100%.
But like I said, because it's 100% me, I had a lot of other expenses that I wouldn't have had. My insurance when I first started in 2009, my insurance was, I think, around, for a truck, trailer, cargo insurance, the whole 9 yards, about $9,000 a year.
Okay.
In 8 years, it went up to, I think I was paying $19,000 the last year. It more than doubled. Now, why is that? Well, when I first started, I had about a 3-year-old truck, about a 2-year-old truck, Kenworth, and I had a 20-year-old trailer. Okay, so the insurance is a lot lower on it. The cargo insurance is the same. The collision insurance, it's the not the liability, to replace the vehicle.
Yeah.
You know,
comprehensive.
Comprehensive, yeah. That was fairly low because the truck and trailer together were, 60 and 10, so you look at $70,000 worth of equipment.
Okay.
When I quit, I had a brand new 2015 Kenworth W900. It was a $150,000 truck, and I had a trailer that was 5 or 6 years old, because I bought it brand new in 2011. And it was a 65 plus the graphics and the paint and all that. I had about $70,000 in the trailer, so I had $220,000 worth of equipment. Okay, so $80,000 versus $220. That's why my comprehensive was a lot higher.
Okay.
So anyway, but yeah, you can make really good money when you do it yourself, but it's a lot. It's a lot of work. There was no, and the other thing is when I'm going to take a week off, because I couldn't take one day off because I get off my schedule. Okay, if I missed one day, I could never catch up.
Yeah.
So if I ever lost one day, a truck's broke down or something, and I took it in the shop, I got to take the whole week off. I call the customer and say, hey, I can't haul this week. Why? Transmission's blown up, or the motor's messed up, or whatever. I got to get it in the shop, and it would only take 6 hours to fix, but we can get you in next Tuesday.
Yeah,
you go to the dealers. You go to the dealers. Hey, it's Monday morning. Hey, my truck's broke down. Yeah, we can get to you on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now I got to take a whole week off.
To get the truck in the shop.
But that's why I had new equipment, so I didn't break down. I didn't break down very often.
Yeah.
I think out of this whole 7 years, I 2 weeks that I didn't run.
Really?
Yeah, 2 weeks that I didn't run because of mechanical breakdown. I took weeks off occasionally, but not very often. I worked most years. I worked about 48 or 49 weeks a year. I'd always take off around Christmas for a week, and I'd take off in the middle of June to go on a little vacation.
Okay.
So we'd go to Colorado or something, go to the mountains. But you could make good money like that. But then what I'm doing now is nothing compared to that. But what I'm doing now is so much easier than that California run. So much easier.
It looks easy
I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. It got to the point where you're so stressed out. My blood pressure was through the roof. I mean, that job was literally killing me.
Yeah.
My blood pressure was through the roof, and I was just like, ugh.
All the time.
Yeah. So I finally says, the heck with it. It's over those years, I put money away, put money in the bank, saved it, invested in some of it, and things like this. And I got to thinking one day, how much is enough? I don't want to be Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I don't want to be Ross Perot or who pick your millionaire. I don't want to be Jeff Bezos. I don't want to have that much. I mean, yeah, I would, but I just the kind of work I'm doing, I'd kill myself trying to get that. And some people are really, really driven. I've got a couple of really good friends of mine that are just super, super driven. How couldn't believe I sold the company. I just walked away one day.
Yeah.
I said, I'm tired of it. And truth be known, if I really wanted to do it again, I could just go right back into it. Well, not with this truck probably because it's too heavy. We can get into that in a minute about weights and stuff. But I could go trade this truck off and go buy another truck and a reefer trailer and get right back into that frozen food stuff that I was doing. It'd take a little while to build it back up because all those customers went and found other people to haul for them. Yeah. But I could probably get back into it if I wanted to. I just don't want to.
No, I understand.
So anyway, what else?
Let's see. Next thing was maintenance. So about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, I had my truck in the shop, and I had my truck had about 500,000 miles, and it was originally a Stevens transport truck, and I know Stevens takes care of their equipment. So at least I know Stevens takes care of their equipment. So anyway,
no, they do, but their schedule's a little weird, probably. So, I don't know what their schedule
England,
is.
I worked for England. Their schedule was always really good. They were very anal about that. They were like, get your truck in or you're not going anywhere. So I think Stevens is the same way. But my truck hit about 500,000 miles, and I, just randomly thought I should probably change the transmission fluid in the 2 rear ends. At least 1 rear end needed to be changed for sure. And I called Stan up and I said, what's the typical interval for changing fluids like that? Like your rear ends and your transmission. He goes, about
every 37 miles.
Oh yeah.
Every week.
Everybody's on the side of the road, like changing their fluid, everything. Yeah. He said about every 250,000 miles, and so I had done it right about the right time, basically, or I had hoped so.
250, 500, 750, 1 million.
Yeah. So, are there any other maintenance things that you can think of that are like that, like intervals?
Just oil changes and stuff like that.
Okay.
You change your oil. It all depends. Oil changes. Back when I first started, engines weren't what they are today.
Yeah.
Okay. Cars were the same way. A 57 Chevy, 350. The tolerances aren't near what a new Honda is.
Yeah.
Honda go 300,000 miles and not think about it. But an old 57 Chevy, by the time you hit 100,000 miles, that thing's pretty much wore out.
Yeah.
The motor anyway. Trucks are the same way. Back when I started driving, the old mechanical cats and stuff like that, Cummins and whatnot, they the common thing was around 12,000 miles, 10,000 or 1250, something like that, change your oil. That's what most owner operators did. But 30 years later now, the engines are better quality, minus the emissions crap. But the motor itself is actually usually a pretty much better, better materials, better metals and stuff. But the oil has changed a lot over the years. The oil with all the additives and stuff like that. I worked for a company, I won't say who, one of these really, really large companies years ago, and their intervals were 30,000 miles for a grease job and 60,000 miles for the oil, engine oil. And I don't think they ever changed the transmission rear ends because they didn't have the trucks that long. They have 3-year lease on them. They'd lease them Freightliners from Freightliner. They'd lease them and they'd run the tar out of them. Okay, and if you think about it, that's good business strategy. Now it's not good for the truck.
It's not good maintenance strategy.
It's not good for the truck, but it's good business strategy.
Yeah.
The reason I say that, let's do some math here real quick. You got an owner operator, and he changes his oil every, like me. I do mine every 15,000 because the oils are better, but I'm not going to go 60. Okay. I do mine every 15,000 miles. So let's say I don't run this hard anymore. But let's say what I used to do is 150,000 miles. 150,000 miles a year divided by 15 is 10 oil changes a year. Okay. So 10 oil changes, and oil change back when I was running, it was about 200, 230.
About $400.
Yeah, well, it depends on the motor. The pack car motors are really expensive in Detroit. Is it Detroit's? They're fairly expensive.
Yeah, DD15. That's what I've got in mine. So.
But a Cat or a Cummins, I think my oil changes are usually somewhere around 300 now. But back then they were like 240, 230. So 10 oil changes in a year times let's say 250.
Yeah.
That's $2,500 in oil, just in oil.
Yeah.
And the filters and everything to go with the oil change, and the grease job and all that. So, so every 15,000 miles, about $2,500 a year in expense. Okay. Now, if I only did that 150,000 miles divided by, let's just say 60, but let's just 50 because it's an even number.
Yeah.
50. There's three oil changes a year, times $300 now.
Yeah.
That's $900 a year.
Versus $3,000.
Right.
Which is what it would be if it was 10 oil changes.
Right. $900 a year for oil changes in a truck. Times Stevens Transport, 22,000 trucks.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, Swift, 9,000 trucks.
Good Lord.
Okay, the company I was with, they were about 3,000 trucks.
Yeah.
So, 300. What was the other
900.
number?
It was 900.
Okay. What was the other?
Year times 3,000.
10 times 200 or 300.
Yeah.
Today's number. So $3,000 for oil if I changed every 15 versus 300 or 900.
900 if you did it every
minus 900.
60.
You're looking at $2,100 of difference times
3,000 trucks.
3,000 trucks. That's $6 million
a year
they save in oil. Do you suppose if they blew a couple motors up, are they going to cry?
Nope.
You got $6.3 million they changed by not changing the oil.
Okay.
and their trucks are bought.
I'm a little
on
more
warranty.
worried about whether or not my
They're bought with a warranty because it's a lease and a warranty. And do you suppose if this big company, okay, if this big company blows a motor and they go to, it was Detroit's, Freightliner with Detroit's, and they go to Detroit and say, hey, we blew a motor up, put a new motor in. And Detroit says, we're not putting a motor in, you blew it up, you didn't change the oils. They go, okay, well, we'll go with Cat next year. Oh, no, we'll buy it. And you see, business-wise, it's a great strategy. But where does it hurt it? If you don't change the oil at all, if you just, it gets low, you just pour oil in, the truck will run 300,000-400,000 miles, no problem, before you have any troubles with it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's when they're getting rid of them.
Yeah.
So that guy that bought it, that's his problem now. You see what I'm saying? So from a business strategy.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a little more worried about whether or not my truck's been properly maintained.
Right.
So.
See, what I'm saying is, from a business strategy, those big companies, when they don't change the oil very often, okay, it makes them money, puts money in their pockets for their shareholders, because it's publicly traded companies usually, okay, and they make good money on it. And by the time the truck starts having problems, they're getting rid of it. Let the other guy mess with it.
Yeah, let the next
so that's why I'm always very, very leery of buying those mega company trucks, okay, because of that maintenance schedule. Now, you can get that truck so cheap, just overhaul the engine.
Yeah.
And it's still cheaper than another truck that I might have drove and took real good care of. And there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees when you buy a used truck.
There's no guarantees when you buy an old car.
Yeah, here you go.
Hello.
But anyway, that's your maintenance. I mean, there's different strategies to it and stuff, but if you're an owner-operator, you've got 1 or 2 or 3 trucks, you don't want, okay, put it this way, that big 3,000 truck company, okay, they're only going to have about 2,500 drivers at any one time. So there's 500 trucks just sitting doing nothing. Yeah. Okay, and if they blow a motor or something's wrong with that, that driver get out of that and get in this truck, and that driver keeps rolling. Yeah. Okay, because they're screaming, we need more drivers. We've got 3,000 trucks, we can't keep our trucks full. Okay, full of drivers. Keep them on the road. So if a few of them break down, it's not hurting their revenue as far as their customers base, okay? So they can afford to have a few trucks broken down. If you only got 1 truck and 1 truck breaks down, that's 100% of your fleet.
True.
So if this big mega carrier that has 3,000 trucks, if all 3,000 trucks broke on one day, their whole fleet is down. And they'd have a problem. But when they got so many spare trucks sitting over in the wings, it doesn't really matter to them. So it's strategy on big carriers like that, And the other thing is, the company I work for, they did their own. They were their own dealership. They didn't go down to Freightliner and buy them. They were their own dealer, and they went to Freightliner factory and bought them from the factory as their own, and they were their own customer. They'd buy the truck and sell it to themselves, or they'd get the truck as a dealer and sell it to themselves. They had their own dealer license. Okay, so they got a brand new truck where at the time. A brand new Peterbilt would have cost $120,000 back then. Yeah. A decent one, a 379 Peterbilt would have cost $120,000. They were getting it for like $80. Yeah. Because that's the dealer price. So they can beat. That's why it's so hard for independents to compete with these mega carriers when it comes to just general freight. Where do we shine? That other shit that nobody wants to do. Yeah. Okay, if that big mega carrier, it was a dry van company, but let's say it was a reefer company, and they say, hey, Mr. Truck Driver, or company driver, we want you to go down and pick 8 pickups in the DFW area and take them to LA, unload at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then we want you to run around LA making all these pickups and everything, and be back here on Monday to make 10 deliveries. That driver said, I ain't working, I ain't doing that kind of nonsense, and he quit. Okay, so they can't get their drivers to do that kind of stuff, so they don't go for that kind of freight.
They want one and done.
So that when you specialize in the crap that nobody else wants to do, you make a little extra money. You make more money. You find your niche. Like you find your niche.
I book loads on truckstop.com, and I'll book loads on DAT, and I've made more money off of multi-stop loads than I will off a single stop load. Exactly. Pick up and drop off. It's like, I know I did one out of Florida, and it's hard to get out of Florida sometimes for $2 a mile. I picked up a load for about $2.10 a mile, but it had 10 stops on it, and a lot of those stops were up in the north, taking flowers up to the north. So, okay, so I mean, anything like any other intervals that you can think of besides just changing your oil every 15,000 miles? Transmission fluid and rear ends about every 250. But what about brakes? How often should you worry about your brakes?
When they wear out.
Just when they wear out?
Yeah, it depends. And when are they going to wear out?
Okay.
You know, it depends on when they wear out.
How often you step on the pedal?
That thing right there. Yeah. How often you use the brake.
What about coolant?
People when it gets
okay. I mean,
I don't know.
No coolant flush
when the mechanic says, "Hey, you probably ought to clean that," change that. I don't.
Right.
I leave that more to the mechanics.
Okay.
There's no. I imagine there's a pamphlet that says change it every 200,000 miles or something like that.
But you as an owner operator, you never run into a time when you needed to
usually
do a coolant flush or.
Yeah, not really. Not so much, no, because usually a water pump is going to go bad or something like that. Okay. And when you change the water pump, well, put fresh antifreeze in. Okay. But you don't just go, well, schedule says we need to change the antifreeze. At exactly 100,000 miles or 200. I'm sure there's a pamphlet. I've never really worried too much about that because antifreeze doesn't really go bad. It can rust and stuff like that, but it doesn't really go bad. It's like when you change the Freon in your, not Freon, but the coolant in your air conditioner. It never goes bad. As
long as it's working,
it never goes bad. It never wears out.
In Texas, we live in Texas, so air conditioning for us is magic. Okay, you don't touch it if it's working. Yeah. Like you just leave it alone. Yeah. If it's not working, you find somebody who can fix it today. Yeah. If it is working, don't.
If it's not working, you're in a panic.
Don't mess with it. Yeah. Don't even look at it funny, okay? Because you don't want it to go out. So.
Right. But all these different fluids and stuff. All right. So we are back.
Yeah, we're back. We got our pipes going.
Got new batteries, fresh batteries.
Fresh batteries in the GoPro and everything. And so we're going to talk about. I think we were pretty much done with maintenance, and what we're going to talk about now is we're going to talk about how you've seen the industry change in the last 34 years that you've been in the industry.
Right there.
Yeah.
That is the biggest change in the trucking industry right here.
I mean, you remember the day of stopping and talking to the dispatcher on the payphone.
That's what I'm talking about right here.
Yeah.
This is the biggest change in all the aspects of life, really.
Yeah.
But in trucking, this right here is the biggest change. The way I mean is, back when I first started, it was all payphones. There was no cell phones. I mean, even the big cell phone baggy phones weren't even around yet, I don't think. Okay. And if they were, it was New York. Expensive. Well, New York executive in his limo. Yeah. And had the big bag phone or a car phone.
I'm actually looking for one for my '88 Cadillac.
Yeah. So back in the day, you'd wake up in the morning, you'd crawl out of your sleeper, you get in the truck, and you think, I need to run into the truck stop or wherever you're at, customer, whatever. You're the customer delivering, whatever. And you'd make your morning check calls, your morning and afternoon check calls. Okay. So most companies that I work for anyway, they wanted you to check call anywhere from like 8 to 10, somewhere in 8 to 10. Let them know where you're at, what you're doing. Are you at the customer yet, or are you halfway to the customer? If you're going all the way across country, are you in Albuquerque, or are you in Amarillo? Where are you at? If you're at the customer, you'll be unloaded in a couple hours. If you're already unloaded, you're doing a check call and an unloaded call all at the same time, or a loaded call, or whatever. So you'd make a check call, then you'd unload, and then 2 hours later, it's 11:30 now, you're finally unloaded at whatever customer you're at, and you'd go in and say, okay, I'm empty, and that's when they would dispatch you if they had a load. If they didn't, you had to hang by these phones calls back in a half hour. Well, you call up, you get not a busy signal, you get put on hold.
Which is where the trucker lounge comes in.
And truck stops had these huge phone banks of cell phone, a payphone after payphone after payphone.
You can still find them in.
They're rare.
Well, you can still see them.
They've changed most of the payphone things into video arcades or something, that kind of thing.
Or was the one in Rochelle, Illinois. Last time I was up there, I've heard they've started remodeling, but they used to have the phone booths still, and you could open them up. It's just like a little room or whatever, and no phone. The
Flying J's had their little rooms, like little closet phone booths. Most of them just had a wall of 6 or 7 or 10 payphones, and the driver would go over and he'd call the 800 number, hello, yeah, and you know, bring, you're on hold. We will get to you shortly. You know, and you'd sit there, you know, and you'd sit there for 20 minutes on hold waiting, and they'd finally get to you. Okay, so what if you babysit at a payphone? Okay, so you'd make your call. You finally get dispatched. If they had a load, fine. Otherwise, they say call back in 30 minutes, call back in an hour, you know, something like that. Well, an hour, 20 minutes later, you get back on the phone because you're going to sit on hold for a half hour.
Yeah.
You know, so you're on the phone, payphone, sitting up in a truck stop instead of out in your truck watching TV or whatever. So it was just you babysitted these payphones. Okay, when you finally you got your dispatch, there was no emails or anything like that. So you had a little notepad and you wrote down all the information they verbally told you over the phone. Okay, this is before Qualcomms or any of that stuff. You know, didn't have that stuff. It was strictly a payphone and a notepad and a pen. And you go in and you write everything down and you go to this customer. Here's their phone number. Right then you hang the phone up, you pick it back up, and you call the customer number.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully it's an 800 number. Otherwise, you had to pull quarters out and pay, you know, to make the call. So you'd call the customer to get directions because there was no GPS. You see, all this electronics stuff has really changed the industry. Okay. Electronics changed the industry in the motors and stuff like that too. But we're talking about just communications alone right now.
Do you feel like it's sped up the industry or slowed it down?
A lot, yeah. Oh God, what we were just talking about when I went to California and everything, I couldn't have done that without a cell phone. There's no way I could have made it because you did things on the fly. You're coming along and a customer would call you up and say, hey, yesterday I told you I wanted 3 pallets. Yeah. Well, they're not going to have one of those pallets available. You know, they're only going to have 2 pallets today. You know, because something didn't come in on the ship or whatever. And okay, so you drop that customer. Well, that other customer said he wanted 4 pallets, and I told him no, you can only have 3 because that's all the more space there was. Well, now space opened up. So I can just get on the phone within minutes and call the other customer and say, hey, I can go ahead and take that 4th pallet. Oh, great, you know, and they call their customer and say, or their warehouse out in California and say, hey, we'll go ahead and make those 4 pallets for this guy. Okay, so it's you know, just speed, you know. Whereas before it would have took a day and a half to make all these phone calls and, you know, getting everybody on the same page. Yeah. Well, I'm picking it up this afternoon. A day and a half, that's tomorrow. I'll be out of town, you know. It's too late then. So it's all that, it's sped up the industry. It's made it so much more like just in time kind of stuff. It's not just in time, but I mean, it's made things flow much better. But on the other hand, drivers are sitting there doing this stuff. You see, this has changed the industry hugely.
If you watch my channel, I've done 2 or 3 videos about how dangerous the cell phone is.
For the good and for the bad both. Yeah. Okay? So, so the cell phone is probably the biggest thing that has changed. Now, get off the cell phones, get into things that have changed. My first truck, no refrigerator, no microwave, no, you know, that kind of stuff has changed. Used to be, you had to go into a restaurant, a truck stop cafe or whatever, you know, in a restaurant and eat there. Okay? A lot of buffets and that kind of stuff, you know. But now, even like your truck, you cook in your truck, don't you?
I do.
Even though it's not a big truck like mine. I got a kitchen in mine, you know, a shower and the whole 9 yards. Even in your truck, you don't have a kitchen and a shower, but you can make crock pot foods and stuff like that. Just little inverters. We didn't have them back when I started. Inverter, you know, you had to buy everything 12 volts.
Really?
Yeah, everything was 12 volt. If there were inverters, they were specialized in in the RV industry, and truckers didn't do it. You know, didn't use them. They didn't start using. You know, I can't remember. The first inverter I think I ever bought was probably mid-90s, something like that. Okay, so I'm talking back in the 80s. Okay, and now has all that changed? Yes. You couldn't watch TV because it was the old analog TV, and you know, you're always just far enough where you can't quite get the TV reception. Now it's digital; it works so much better. On top of that, you got internet TV. You know, you get your cell phone or a Wi-Fi hotspot of some type. You hook your TV and watch Netflix, watch movies in your truck. Okay, you couldn't do that back in the day. Okay, but because of that, I guess cobweb. Cobweb just come across my face. Back in the day, drivers didn't have all these little other things to do. Yeah. So they were on a CB, talking to each other, and that's where we learned from each other because of CBs. Everybody was on a CB talking. when you're driving down the highway, it was just chatter, chatter, chatter all over the place. And I wouldn't learn by picking the mic up and go, hello driver, what's the interval on oil changes? You just hear some guys, yeah, I was in the shop the other day and I got the oil, it's been 250,000 miles. It was time to get the transmission oil change, and your rear ends, You overheard that stuff, and you, in the back of your mind, you just filed that, and now you've learned something. Nowadays, nobody has their CBs on because the drivers are too busy with their flip-flops. Now I know I got shorts on, I wear shorts, but I wear shoes. They're in shorts and flip-flops, and they got their foot up on the dash and doing this, driving down the highway in cruise control on ice in Wyoming.
Yeah.
And can't figure out why they're having wrecks, So that's the biggest changes, the cell phone and the electronics and stuff like that. The trucks themselves ride smoother. Your truck rides a whole lot. My first truck was a spring ride. Ooh. It was a Kenworth with a spring ride no airbags. It had airbag seat, and you needed that You needed that airbag on the seat because the truck was so stinking rough. Okay, you're going down the road and concrete highway, for 50 miles. So it was rough. Whoa! Our neighbor dog came over. Chief, go home. Go home, Chief. Chief, go home. Go. Chief's not a problem. Penny's the problem. Let's get the dog situation straightened out. We're going to edit this out. So, where were we on the spring ride trailer or trucks and stuff? They just rode really, really rough. And back then, you really needed that air ride seat. I don't use my air ride seat anymore. I just set it right down on the floor. And I'm not doing that low rider thing.
Yeah.
But this seat, when you set it down, it's just about the right height for me. It fits just about right. And the truck rides so smooth that you don't really need the air ride seats anymore. Yeah. So, the technology's changed like that. Tires are better than they used to be. And compared to when I first started, they're not that big of a difference compared to the old bias plies. But back in the 50s and 70s, through there, they had those old bias ply tires that were terrible, So, a lot of things like that have changed. Any other aspects can you think of? The drivers themselves?
Do you feel like the drivers themselves have really changed in 34 years?
Well, yeah, a lot.
Okay. Do you feel like it's more, to me it feels like, as somebody who idolized truck drivers as a kid, and wanted to be a truck driver, and
because you watched Smokey and the Bandit?
It was probably that, yeah.
Okay,
like,
right.
It was Smokey the Bandit, other stuff.
The type of drivers now?
Yeah, they're not the same.
It is a lot different because a lot of the drivers back then, I'd say 99% of the drivers out there when I first started were the Jerry Reed, snowman type, on Smoking the Bandit. That type of, Billy Bob redneck, cowboy boots and a hat, and we drive the truck a million miles an hour. Okay. Yeah. Is that old cowboy attitude. Cowboy truck drivers. A lot of it's changed nowadays. There's a lot more ethnic groups in it. A lot of Asians, a lot of Russians, a lot of Middle Eastern, a lot of Mexican drivers nowadays compared to when, Now, I say that run around the greater part of the United States. When I first started, and you go down to Laredo, all the drivers were Mexican down there because that's what lived down there. Yeah. But you didn't see Mexican drivers too much in Ohio. You see? Yeah. But now you're seeing them kind of everywhere. But a lot of Middle Eastern, a lot of European, like Russian drivers, Georgia, and what's the other? Eastern Europe countries, old Soviet bloc. I'm trying to think of that one country, but anyway.
Bosnia? Yeah,
that time. That's not. But anyway, Ukraine. Those kind of drivers nowadays, they're driving down there, and half of them don't know how to speak English. And I don't know. That's getting into more of a political thing, but it's just if you're going to be driving a big rig in America, you probably ought to learn how to speak English.
Well, I think it should be a requirement. I do think it should be a requirement. We have road signs that have to be understood. We have, that's pretty much it. So road signs, maps. If you need to ask questions or something like that of somebody, most everybody in America speaks English.
Right. And I don't want that to come off sounding like he hates immigrants. My grandpa was an immigrant. Okay, my grandpa was from Germany. He was born in Germany, so I can't hate immigrants. Okay, I don't. This is America. Come.
It's a melting pot.
But come here legally. We're getting into politics here, but just come here legally. That's all I ask.
And on my channel, I'm not.
And don't come here and be a terrorist and whatever. But anyway. You know?
But it's I don't know. It to me, I think I thought when I came out here it was going to be more like Jerry Reed, cowboy boots, and jeans, and everything. Yeah. But I had seen I worked as
and it still is in certain areas. I mean,
if
you're hauling logs in Alabama or Mississippi, yeah, it's all Jerry Reed redneck kind of guys.
Bull haulers are kind of that way, and everything. So,
but your freight haulers, your big
dry van
big
people,
dry vans and all that kind of stuff.
Reefers.
Now, back when I first started, the people that weren't the redneck Jerry Reed types were the household movers. The United Van Lines. They were more
New Yorkers. Seems
no,
like. No, it seems like a lot of those
but they
guys
just weren't that redneck style. They were more of a they get out of the truck and a dentist or something. It just didn't look like a truck driver.
Clean, yeah,
real clean up, well kept. And that's another thing. When I first started trucking, things changed. 30 years ago, it was this way. When I started, there was some old guy that'd been driving since 45. Got out of World War II and became a truck driver. And I've been driving since 45. I'm 80 years old. And I'm getting ready to retire now. Okay. And all these damn truck drivers nowadays, these whippersnappers. These damn whippersnappers don't know a damn thing. Okay. Well, it all morphs and changes over the years. Okay. This is going to get into a whole different thing, but eventually you're not going to have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Because these trucks will eventually become autonomous. Cars and trucks and all, eventually.
Yeah.
Not next week, not next month, not next year, not 10 years from now.
I read an article.
50 years from now, 50 years from now, hardly anybody's going to drive. You're going to get in a car, push a button, and talk and say, take me to the grocery store. Or the semi would say, the dispatcher will walk out, turn the truck on, hit the button, or be remote, like they do the drones on the Air Force does the drones now. It'll be remote drones. And one operator, we'll call him an operator, one operator will be sitting in front of a bank of TV screens running 10 trucks at one time with cameras as the trucks will go autonomously down the road. I think something like that will eventually morph into.
Okay.
Now, I did a video 2.5 years ago. Somebody asked me, hey, what do you think about the new Elon Musk's Cybertruck, or the electric truck?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's a car, thinking, no, and this is in my comments.
Truck,
and I'm like, no, he just released, they're going to start making semis.
Yeah.
What? And there was a link in the comments, so I clicked on the link and looked up, and sure enough, here's Elon Musk pulling the tarp off of that ugly ass Cybertruck thing he's got. And he pulls it off, and in the comments, they were saying, well, I don't know why you'd want to become a truck driver anymore, because you're going to be out of a job in 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you crazy? 5 years? There's no way. Well, that was 2.5 years ago that somebody told me that truck drivers will be a thing of the past in 5 years. So in 2.5 years, they still haven't built one truck. They've got their prototypes, but the factory, they don't even have a factory built to build those trucks. Now, they'll build them in the same line as they do the cars. Okay, you're not going to replace 10 million trucks in 5 years.
You can't, but first off, that's not even possible. You can't build the truck in the same line that you build the cars, because the machinery is so specific when you're building a car that you have to have specific machinery to build a truck.
But then again, we're talking about Elon Musk's electric truck is that aerodynamic looking thing, right? And supposedly they're going to try to make it cyber. I've heard that they're getting off of that. They kind of stopped worrying about this. They're worried about the battery more than anything right now. They're still trying to get that straightened out. But what I'm getting at is, it's not going to happen in 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. In 2030, you might see a few of them at Frito-Lay and FedEx, that kind of thing, going cross-country type of stuff. They won't be going cross-country. They're going from terminal to terminal to terminal to terminal to get across country.
Yeah.
Because they'll pull into this train, and they'll probably have a sliding battery pack. They'll just slide that pack out and put, like forklifts. You've seen forklifts, how they do it in warehouses. The battery gets low, they just grab they got a crane, and they slide the forklift battery out and put a fresh battery in. So you leave LA with a FedEx truck, and he's got its freight, and it's going to haul all the way to New York, let's say. Going all the way across country, which it wouldn't. They'd fly it, or it'd be on a train or something, whatever. But anyway, they're going to go from LA to Phoenix. Okay, when it gets to Phoenix, the battery pack's going to be wore out. They'll pull in, slide that pack out, and put a new pack in. Now, that's not the way they're designing it right now, but I'm sure there will be versions of it that will be like that. for those kind of companies. So they can just slide the pack out, slide a fresh pack in, put that one on the charger and slide this one in, and the truck leaves 10 minutes later and goes right on down the road. And the guy in the office in Omaha is driving the truck autonomously, watching TV cameras, and he's not driving, he's just monitoring, watching these 10 trucks going down there. That's what I see in the trucking eventually. Okay. When is that going to be? It all depends on the infrastructure for one, for two, who wants it, you know. But you're not going to see, you know, all of a sudden there's 10 million cyber trucks driving autonomously. All the truck drivers are fired, and there's 10 million semis that are going to go to the scrap heap. That ain't going to happen. It's just our economy or economics won't allow that to happen.
That's not how it
because
works.
I'm going to be that driver looking at, say, I can go out and buy they're $1 million.
Yeah.
But the electricity's free.
Yeah.
So they go, well, look at $1 million, but yeah, by over 10 years, it's a much better deal. Well, yeah, for that big company. But what about, you were telling me a story earlier about your dump truck. How's that dump truck going to electric dump truck out there, or some farmer? He's going to have a use for that old mechanical, engine motor, diesel motor. Yeah. So those trucks will still be around, just like you can still see a '57 Chevy pickup driving around town. Okay, you've got older cars.
I've got, I do.
They will be there. The only thing I can see that would really hasten this is if legislation comes in and says you must switch over. The government forces the industry to change over.
I just don't.
And I think that will really hurt the industry too.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know. I don't know. I do believe eventually we will be at a place. Now I probably won't see it. Okay, I'm 56 years old, almost 57, and if I live another 20 years, I won't see it.
Yeah.
I might see a few trucks, but the whole industry won't be taken over by autonomous electric trucks. It might be, in 20 years it might be 50% electric trucks and 50% diesel. Yeah. But they all have drivers in them still, because you got all this other problems of if it's an electric truck and there's nobody in it and there's an accident, who do they blame? Yeah. That guy in Omaha that was just monitoring a screen and some electronic gizmo goes bad. I always thought too. Back, you got strikes and union workers would have picket lines and stuff like that.
Excuse me.
You have strikes and picket lines and people protesting different things. They're changing the industry of whatever, steel mill or something. Yeah. And people go in and protest because, hey, it's killing my job. You're automating all this stuff and it's killing my job. Auto workers and stuff like this, right? What about these truck drivers that go, I don't like the idea of an electronic truck. So they go over and grab a traffic cone and a cyber truck, whether it's Elon Musk, Tesla truck or whatever. Some electric truck pulls up, autonomous truck pulls up, might even be a diesel truck, but it's autonomous, whatever. Yeah. But an autonomous truck pulls up at a stoplight, and he walks over, takes a traffic cone, and sits it down in front of the truck and walks away. That truck can't go because it thinks it's a person there, and it won't run. There. So now traffic backs up. Okay, and finally somebody goes over and pulls the cone out, and the guy comes. He's sitting over at the gas station. And the traffic kind of gets to going. Here comes another one. He goes over and sets it down, and it, there will be that sabotage, is what I'm getting at. And it won't be sabotage like blowing it up or anything, but just putting a thorn in their side. Kind of. So I mean, there will be that type of thing going on too. But I don't know. I won't be around to see it. I'm not worried about my job driving a truck for the next 10 years.
It's an economy thing. It's like you look at it from the perspective of the electric car. There are electric cars that are available. Not everybody can afford one. It's like you and I could probably afford one if we wanted one.
I think they will have, long before they have an 80,000 pound truck going down a truck autonomously. You'll see Disneyland having autonomous vehicles. They already do, I think, to some extent. But you'll see Uber and your what's that? They bring your food to you.
Uber and Lyft have given up on doing.
They've given up.
They've given up on doing fully autonomous.
Okay, but what's the other? The food delivery and Amazon. Those. Amazon apparently is going full bore into that. Didn't they buy? They were going to do like autonomous delivery using drones. Yeah. And then flying them. Yeah.
Yeah, flying them.
But have you seen the little box-looking thing? It's about the size of a double the size of a refrigerator on wheels. You know,
Yeah.
it's a refrigerator laid down with wheels and everything.
Yeah.
And it delivers your Amazon package to you.
And how big is this thing? Like this big?
Oh, it's smaller than a VW Beetle. You know?
Yeah, people can't see motorcycles now?
Yeah, but but this thing it won't be on the freeway, but it'll be on taking all the back roads and stuff. But the thing is, how's it gonna? It pulls out. That's the thing about Amazon. They come up and they have a human walks the thing up and puts it on your doorstep.
Yeah.
If there's nobody home, they can't deliver the. Who's gonna walk out and pick it up?
Yeah.
You know, they got to have somebody there to. You know, so if they're gonna have somebody there to walk it up to the.
They're
I don't know.
to come get it. It's like the Domino's autonomous delivery thing.
Yeah.
They don't bring it to you. You have to go out to the street and get your pizza out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But you're expecting the pizza hot and fresh and delivered.
Mm-hmm.
You order something from Amazon. I'm going to be at work today. I ain't going to sit around waiting for this Amazon truck or car to pull up.
I can't wait all day long for the Amazon thing to show up. Yeah.
That's the magic of Amazon. You don't have to be there. They just leave it on your doorstep.
I read
stolen.
I read an article. I read an article this week that was talking about how the dream of fully autonomous vehicles is dead.
Yeah.
And the reason, it's an opinion piece, but the reason is because our cargo planes and our passenger planes that fly now don't fly autonomous.
Yeah.
They have autopilot, where there's a pilot sitting there and monitoring
Trains
things.
are the same way. By law, they have to have people in there to hit that panic button.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's like every 20 seconds they got to hit the panic button.
Well, that's just to go. But you know, if they're there's a car on the track, they can hit the panic button, lock the brakes up.
So they have what's called a dead man switch.
Yeah, they got to hit every 20 seconds. Yeah,
but
that's
seconds
not the panic button. That's the dead man switch. You got to hit it, all the time.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the most telling thing that tells me they're not going to have autonomous vehicles.
What?
The Jetsons were flying around in the future, and they still had to drive their own cars.
You're going to base the future of society on the Jetsons cartoon?
The Simpsons do.
Okay.
Look at all the things the Simpsons have come through.
Yeah, listen, if you're going to start talking about how much the Simpsons have told the future, I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah,
So,
it's amazing how many things they've come up with, you know.
Yeah.
That they didn't have, 10 years ago they had an episode where Homer did something and kind of find out it come true 10 years later.
That's
you know?
What was the Trump thing? They predicted Trump running for office.
There you go. Yeah.
Before he ran for office.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
We're about 30 minutes into this one. So you just think that's fine. We talk forever. We'll edit some of it out. I probably won't. I'll probably edit it all in there. But okay. So you think in the last 34 years, what's really changed the industry the most is just technology?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mainly like cell phones and stuff like that. But driver comfort also. Like with do you have a refrigerator in your truck?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, there's one right there, right behind you there. There's a refrigerator that came out of one of my trucks.
Yeah.
That truck that Kirk has. When the sleeper got wrecked, they were going to take the sleeper off and throw it away. I'm like, that's a good refrigerator. It's only 2 years old.
Yeah.
So I grabbed it, and it's been sitting there ever since.
Pepper, where are you?
Uh-oh.
Come here.
All right. Pause for the calls again.
Come on, Pepper.
Okay. All right, we're back.
Dog, man.
Yeah, so we had to stop the dog fight.
We got to talking, and she snuck off.
All right, so
I'm sure in the video you can see her slinking off, going, So
anyway, we were talking about
just how the industry's changed 34 years, but I think we
mainly it's electronic. So let's move on to what do you want to talk about now?
War stories.
Okay.
So so Stan wants me to tell a story. I'll go first. Well, I'll give you a choice because you heard the fire story. There's a second fire story.
Okay. Whatever you want. It's your video.
Okay. So I'm trying to think like which story is the best, and also which one I don't want in the public. There's so many.
The names and the names have been changed for the protection of the innocent.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I was working for a company. I'll tell the one I told you earlier. I was working for a company. Then you can tell me the Oklahoma one.
Yep.
You didn't tell me that one. I was working for a company a while back. I'm not going to say what company. And I was running an in-dump trailer. And I was afraid of the in-dump trailer. And my boss at the time had told me, be careful as far as the in-dump trailer is concerned. If you're not on level ground, when you raise it up, it can actually tump over on you. So I was always afraid that I was going to end up having the trailer tump over on me. And I'd had a close call. I'd had a place that I'd gone. The guy wanted me to drop a little dirt here and a little here and a little here and a little here. Big trees, and the driveway was uneven. And I was watching in the, I was looking behind me. It's a day cab, so I've got a window behind me, and I'm looking in the thing, and I'm watching it kind of lean back and forth like this. And so it leaned a little too far this direction, scared me. So when it leaned back this direction, I dropped the trailer as quick as I could. And I called my boss. I said, yeah, it's not going to happen. So I'm going to have to dump it at the end of the driveway and just let him figure it out. And they go, okay. So I found a place and dumped it down there. Well, the owner of the place that I worked had fire work stands. And he was getting ready for 4th of July one year. And they sent me to get some flex base, which is, if you don't know what flex base is, it's basically when they take up a parking lot or tear down a concrete building, they crush all of that concrete and everything, and it creates like a powdery substance with some rock and stuff in it. You can put it down and water it down and kind of solidify it. It becomes pretty hard. So it's real cheap. It's the cheapest thing you can get, actually. And so take it out to the fireworks stand, corner of these two really busy farm to market roads, and we have what are called farm to market roads in Texas. So this was between like Kaufman and Terrell in kind of east of Dallas. Real busy intersection, and so I go out there and I'm looking for the best place to drop this flex base off. And finally find this one place that kind of slopes back, and there's a driveway that leads up to the farm to market road out front. So it's real nice. I can just dump it, move forward, bring the trailer down, pull out, and go on back to the office. So I pull it back nice and level and everything, raise the trailer up, shake the trailer a couple of times, get it all kind of go down the end, and pull the trailer forward. And as I'm doing this, there's this brilliant blue flash of light in the sky. And it was kind of it was not a cloudy day, with big blue puffy, big white puffy clouds in the sky. I watch a channel called Thunder Mesa Studios, and he calls them Andy's Room clouds from the Toy Story movie.
Yeah, I call them Simpsons clouds.
Oh yeah, they're Simpsons clouds basically. Yeah. So Simpsons cloud day, and so no thunder or anything. So big brilliant blue flash in the sky, and I thought, oh crap, what's that? And about that time, you hear thunk, and off goes a power line, and then thunk, and off goes another power line. And they sparked when they hit the top of the truck.
It draped across the vehicle?
Yeah. Well, no, it hit, like I snapped it in two and it hit, and then the two sides.
Oh, it broke the cable?
Yeah, it broke the power line, yeah.
All
So
right.
one side went this way and one side went the other way. And it sparked as it went down. And it had not rained in a while. And so it was pretty dry in Texas. And there was an issue with dry grass and everything at that time. So, of course, it set fire to the grass either side. Now, mind you, I'm in a company truck. I've just taken down a power line, and I have set fire to the owner's property. And I've done it at a very busy intersection and on 2FM roads. Yeah.
And knocked power out.
Yeah. So, and there was a pit that was further down one of the roads that we would get sandy loam from. And it knocked them out. They no longer had power to screen the product that they had. So I'm like, okay, well, it set fire to the grass, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here. So I go to drop the trailer again, and when I did, there was another brilliant blue flash of light in the sky.
Broke another line.
And I stopped it before it broke that line, which is nice. So I stop it immediately and go, what the hell? So I look up, and sure enough, there's another line. And I tried to go back far enough that I could lower the trailer. That didn't work, and there just wasn't anything I could do.
You can't back up because of a pile of dirt.
I can't back up because of the pile of dirt.
Yep.
I can't go forward because of the power line.
Yeah.
Can't lower the trailer because of the power line. So I'm sitting here in the truck. Air conditioner's blowing, which was nice. There's fire either side of me, and it's building pretty quickly. Yeah. I can't lower the trailer. I can't get out because there's live electrical lines on the ground. Yeah. And I pretty much was like, this is how I die. And so there's going to be they're going to go, how did it?
Did you die?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
actually.
okay. All right.
Strangely enough, yeah.
All right.
Luckily enough. And so, so anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, I need to at least try to save myself. So I get the phone out and I call 911. And the fire department shows up and they start putting the fire out. And the police officers show up and they're kind of snickering about what's going on, I'm pretty sure. And Texas Department of Public Safety officer shows up. Texas State Trooper shows up, of course. And I'm just
Dumbass driver. Dumbass drivers.
Oh, I'm going to get so many tickets for this and everything. Yeah. And this company I'd worked for, they ran 20, 25, 30-year-old pieces of equipment. Mm-hmm. The truck I was driving had over 1 million miles on it. It was still over 20 years old. Yep. And so things broke. And I had so much go wrong. I had a truck burned down on me at one point, and I lost whole wheels, you know, just gone.
Yep.
Other things had happened, and I thought for sure, you know, this was
gonna be the straw.
This is gonna be the straw that broke the camel's back, you know.
Yep.
And so anyway, so I get, you know, the fire department puts the fire out and everything, and they get the electricity turned off, and I get the truck pulled out on the road. They direct me how to lower the trailer up, snap in another power line, and I get the truck pulled out on the road. I get out, and the state trooper goes, "Well, how do you feel?" And I said, "Well, not so good." I said, "I'm pretty sure I'm fired." And he goes, you know. So, and I said, "What's the ticket that I'm gonna get?" He goes, "I feel like you've had a bad enough day.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give you a ticket." I was like, "Oh, I appreciate that. Thanks." You know. And so I get about that time, the phone rings, and it's my boss, and he goes, "What the hell are you doing?" And I said, and he goes, "Don't tell me, I already know." And I was like, "How do you know?" And he goes, "You know that pit down the way that we use all the time?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, when the power went out, he went looking for the reason why he lost power, and he found you." He said, he called me up and said, "What kind of dumbass drivers driving for me? And the only one I could think of was you." And I went, yes, sir. You know, and like, oh, it's guaranteed, you know. So, and he said, "Just get back here." And I'm like, all right. So I, you know, put the trailer down, put it in gear. State trooper's nice. They're putting the, you know, power lines back together and everything. And I got back to the office, and I took the key. We always left the key in the truck. So I took the key out of the truck. I was like, you know, I took all the stuff that I needed to take and had all my stuff with me, and I went inside, and I'm like, you know, ready to go.
You cleaned out your desk.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And I handed the key to him, so here you go. And he goes, "What's this?" And I said, "Well," I said, "you know, this is everything I got. So here you are."
Fired, ain't I?
And he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm fired." And he goes, "Why would you be fired?" I was like, "Why wouldn't I be fired?" I was like, "I just said fire to the owner's property, and I got a power line." I mean, like, come on. He goes, "Mike," he said, "I like you, Mike, you know, and you don't cause a whole lot of drama." I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like just fire to the owner's property.
Counting today.
Like, not counting today. Yeah. So it's like, and he's like, "Nah, I'm not gonna fire you, Mike. You're all right. Don't worry about it. Just go home. Try to be more careful next time," which was always his advice. Every time something happened, just be more careful next time. You know, it's like. And he's a good guy. I really liked him. I worked there for a little bit. So
yeah, there you go. So,
the Oklahoma story.
You want to hear about the Oklahoma fire?
Yeah, okay. You said fire to Oklahoma. So you said earlier. That's all I know.
I was down on I-35 heading south. This is actually the very first company I ever worked for. I'd only been driving for maybe a year, and I was coming down 35 south, Ardmore area, somewhere along in there maybe. Oklahoma City to the state line, somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm driving along, and a guy hollers at me on the CB, because we used CBs back then. You know, there was this invention that people could talk to each other with, you know, wirelessly, you know, called a CB.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know what that is anymore. But anyway, this guy, I passed him, and he hollers at me and says, "Hey, flatbed." "Yeah." "Hey, you know you got a flat tire?" "Oh, I do." Yeah, it's completely flat. It's off the rim and everything. It's flat. You know, big bolt got in it. And so, okay. So I pulled over on the side of the road and look at it and check it out. And he pulls over behind me. Okay. Well, we get out and look at it, and sure enough, it's completely flat because there was a bolt in it. And he goes, "What we can do is air it back up, and you can get on down the road to get it fixed," because it was duals instead of these super singles. You know? Yeah. You don't want to run that much weight on one tire, so let's air it back up. I said, "Well, how are you going to air it up?" You know. He said, "Well, what we can do is put fire in it."
Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, you know, the ether trick? Okay.
Yeah.
So for you that don't know, the ether trick is, what you do is the tire is completely off the rim. I mean, it's on the rim, but the bead is broke, you know, and you can push the side of the wall in to see the inside of the rim. You take ether, you know, starting fluid, and you squirt it in there, and get just a little bit. You don't take a lot, just, and then you with the ether, you draw a line down the side of the tire out onto the pavement. Okay, that's your fuse.
Yeah.
Okay, so you light it over here, and that lights up on the side of the tire, kind of catches on fire, and then you kick the tire, which opens that bead up, which the fire can go inside where the ether is, and it whoops it up. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's not a full pressure, like 10 pounds of pressure, but it seats the rim, and then you get an air hose out and air it on up. Now, depending on how fast your leak is, you might be able to go 10 miles, might not be able to air it up at all. You know, maybe the bolt has gone in and out, and now you got a big hole. But if it's sealed up enough, you can air it up 80 pounds or something and go limp down the road 20 miles to a truck stop to get the tire fixed.
Yeah.
So we get out there and we do this. I never saw this. This is all new to me. You know, well, what are you doing? Oh, we're gonna air it up. Well, I got to seat the rim first because you know you just put the hose on it, won't take air. So he's out there with his ethers. Now he lights this thing all up and everything. Now it woofs. Now you remember it's summertime and there's all this dry grass in the ditch and everything.
Mm-hmm.
When it went woof, some of that went over and it caught the grass on fire.
Oh Lord.
And I'm out there like stomping, you know, trying to stomp this stuff out. And it was the kind of grass, I don't remember what species of grass it is, but it's the kind that would burn underneath and then pop up over here.
Oh,
you know,
no.
it's like a crabgrass or something. I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah.
It would burn, but it would also burn down below. So you don't see it, and all of a sudden, 3 feet away, it'd pop up over there and burn. So I'm over here stomping it out, and they burn out. And I figured he's around here somewhere stomping too.
Oh, no.
And I turned around, and I didn't mention this, but I was in a flatbed.
Uh-huh.
He was in a gas tanker.
Oh,
like a
shit.
propane,
Oh.
pressurized, you know,
Yeah.
propane gas tank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I look around and he's gone. He's getting the hell out of here. So am I. So I start running. This is on the passenger side trailer.
Yeah.
So I turn around and I'm like, where's he at? He's gone, you know. And I start running up the side of the truck. I'm going to get in the truck and take off too to get, you know, for one, get the truck out of it so I didn't catch fire. But, you know,
Yeah.
you know, like, oh, get the hell out of here. And I guess we started the grass fire. And I get up just about to the tractor by the side of the cab, and I hear this, you know, look around. He had one of them big fire extinguishers. That's
Yeah.
what he did. He went off to get the fire extinguisher. He's out there blowing it all out. You know, but I mean, I'm out there stomping on this grass trying to get it out. I look around. He's going. I'm going too. He got the hell out of there. But anyway, he got the fire out and everything. So anyway, we got to talking after that. He was going on to Dallas. I don't know where I was going, somewhere south. Anyway, he got to talking with him and his CB handle. I don't know why I've remembered his CB handle ever since. Glad.
Really?
Glad. That's glad. He's glad to be out here. I think he had a something happened in his life, war or something like that. You know, maybe in World War II or Vietnam or something like that. And I don't know. I didn't get, but I assume that's what it was. He was glad to be alive still. You know.
Yeah.
So that was his CB handle. Was glad. So anyway, yeah, and that's the only time I ever saw him. I never saw him ever again. But anyway, but that was my catching Oklahoma on fire. Now we got it out, you know, a little 20-foot burn area, you know, but it was kind of windy that day too. You know,
Yeah.
it would have caused a problem, you know.
Would have caused a big fire.
Yeah, luckily he had that big fire extinguisher, you know, because that big tankers, they have to have that huge fire extinguisher on them.
Yeah.
You know, not just a little 5-pounder or something. So yeah, anyway, that was almost caught Oklahoma on fire. Yeah, and that's how a lot of that the road fires and stuff happen.
They do, yeah.
Did your thing dip deep off?
No, it's still going.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that's why a lot of road fires happen is a truck or a car. This happens with cars too, but their brake pads get old or wear or whatever, and a chunk of metal will fall off of them. A brake pad will break or whatever, and that hot piece will go off into the grass. Driver doesn't know. He drives on down, and that thing catches the thing. Or a cigarette. Used to throw cigarettes out the wing window all the time. You know.
Yeah.
Since people don't smoke near as much anymore, there's not. They used to be driving along the middle of the night, and you following some guy, and here comes a cigarette ash, you know, a cigarette butt out, and here goes this.
You still see it.
You know,
You still see it.
You see them some, but not near like you used to.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause there's so many people that don't smoke anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, you get these guys that chain smoke, and you know, about every 10 miles, here comes a cigarette butt out the window. You know. So, but anyway, that was my Oklahoma story. You want to hear the elephant story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
right.
I'll tell you another one.
This is a goofy story. I've already told it on my channel years ago, so maybe some might remember it. But this is 30 years ago. I don't remember. It was probably early 90s, maybe 92, somewhere along in there. Anyway, I was working for a flatbed company out of Houston, and I was driving. Had a load of something. I don't remember what it was, but I was on my way out to I think Seattle, and I'm out in Montana. Way out in the middle of Montana somewhere, open, dead, you know, just, I mean, it wasn't, I don't know, I was just driving along, and I'm tired, and this is, you know, paper logbook so we could mess around with them and everything, and I was just, you know, I was pushing it more than I should. And so I'm out there driving along, and I'm tired, and I see this truck up ahead, and speed limit's 55 back then, and they were probably doing 55, and I was probably doing 65 or something, outlaw. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Eating the highway up. But anyway, I'm out there driving, I'm catching this vehicle, and I change lanes. And remember, it's Montana, late at night, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And not a lot of traffic. Here's this truck up there, and I change lanes, and I go to pass him. And as I go to pass him, I hit a hill. Okay, and I'm heavier than they are, so I was catching him and went up, but then I kind of stalled out right beside him, going up this little bit of a hill. Not a big mountain, just a little hill. And I kind of stalled out, so I'm sitting there side by side with this truck. We both dropped down to about 50 miles an hour. I'm tired. I look over, and there's an elephant drawing on my mirror. The elephant truck is out there drawing on my mirror, and I'm like, all right, time to go to bed. So I slowed down, backed up, or I didn't back up, I just slowed down. That truck went on, I pulled in behind him. I'm gonna pull off the next truck stop, rest area, wherever. I'm tired. I'm calling it quits. I'm done. And I pull in behind this truck, and on the back of it, Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, or some circus. It was a real elephant. There was a real elephant, and stuck his trunk out the window, and was over there messing with my mirror.
Your mirror?
Well, he was just over there, doing this to my mirror.
That's hilarious.
And I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, I'm real tired. I had to pull over. And it was a real elephant, yeah. Hilarious. It was a real elephant, stuck his trunk out.
I hadn't heard this story before.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
So yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then, let's see, what else? Have you ever seen a rainbow at night?
No.
It's possible. And
really?
It's true, and I wasn't tired.
Okay.
Really saw it up by just south of Gillette, Wyoming, Casper, north of Casper,
Okay.
On 25 there. I'm driving along, and there had a big rainstorm. And it was a full moon, and it was one of them really super moons.
Oh, cool.
Super bright moon that night. And just really, really clear, but here's this thundercloud is up ahead, and as I got to it, it had rained, and the cloud had kind of moved off, but all the water was in the air where it would have been a normal rainbow. But because the moon was so bright, I was actually getting a rainbow at night.
Wow.
It was that bright. It was just, and it wasn't your bright, really, but there was an arc, and you could tell it was a rainbow. It was like a night version of a rainbow. But yeah.
I wonder if somebody's got something like that on a picture.
What about UFOs? You ever see the UFOs?
I have, yes, but not while driving a truck.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of weird stuff driving down the road.
Yeah.
I don't believe in alien UFO kind of stuff. I
didn't before.
But I've seen weird stuff that would be considered. What is UFO? Unidentified flying object.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here right now, and there goes something across the sky. I assume it's a plane. I can't see it. I assume it's a plane, but to me, it's a UFO because I don't know what it is. It's unidentified. But I've seen, probably meteors fall and stuff. But I was down on I-10 in New Mexico, around the Lordsburg, Deming area on I-10 there, and I'm driving along, and there's thunderclouds in the sky. It's kind of one of those nights. They have big thunderclouds in the area. And I look, and to the south, which we're only about 20 miles north of the Mexican border there, roughly, okay? And I see something in the clouds glowing really, really bright.
Yeah. And
I'm thinking it's an airplane with landing lights or something. But it's just hanging there, and I'm driving along for a good hour watching this thing, and it's just kind of hovering inside the cloud, making the cloud glow.
That's weird, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, what? Somebody suggested it might be a tethered balloon that they're using for border patrol or something.
Maybe.
But why would it be lit up?
I
don't know. So I mean, you see weird things. The not weird things, but unique things. Of course, a lot of people saw this. But when not the Challenger, what was it? Columbia re-entry, when it blew up. I was in Yuma, Arizona. My parents were actually doing RV back then.
Okay.
And they were in an RV park out in Yuma. And we were sitting there, and they were talking about the space shuttle coming in, and it would be coming right over us to land in Florida.
Yeah. And
we were sitting outside, and all of a sudden, somebody, I don't remember who, I think it was neighbors or something, they started looking at me, everybody kind of looks, and there's all these streaks going across the sky, and you could see it was breaking up. Of course, it landed in Texas, the pieces fell in Texas, mostly East Texas. But you saw that. I saw the space shuttle go up, from Florida go up. You know, all these little things you see because you're a truck driver. You get to
You
travel.
happen to be in the right place.
I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Yeah.
Or the right place at the wrong time.
And it was one of the last shuttles went up. It wasn't the last one, but it was like the last 5 or so. I just happened to be in Florida. I was in a truck. I had a flat tire. I pulled in a truck stop, and while I was sitting there, wanting to watch this because it's the first time I'd ever been close enough to Cape Canaveral to watch the thing go up when they're shooting it up. You know, and I was over in Central Florida, but it was close enough where you could see the I mean, it was so far away, but you could see the smoke, contrail, whatever, going up. You know, so I mean, you couldn't see the shuttle itself, but you could see, oh, there it goes, right there. So
I mean, weird stuff that I've seen on the road. I think I've been pretty lucky. I haven't seen a whole lot of weird stuff. I don't know on the highway. I can't think about it. The whole alien thing.
Yeah.
I didn't really believe in aliens, and I took my sister and my nephew. We went up to that highway that runs between Arkansas and Oklahoma. It's called the Talamina Highway, I think, or the Talahina Highway. I think it's Talamina Highway. And
by Mena, Arkansas.
Yeah, it runs.
Up on the mountain.
Yeah, it runs up.
I've been up there many times. Yeah.
So we went up there because I'd heard about it from a friend of mine. I'd never heard about it before, and I wanted to go. So I talked to my sister. You want to go? She said, yeah. So we got together in her car and went up there, and I decided that this was my chance to see the Milky Way for the first time.
Oh, at night.
At night.
I've never been up there at night. I've been up there during the day.
So we went up during the day, and it was starting to get dark as we were leaving. And I said, dang, I bet I could see the Milky Way, and I'd never seen it before, and I wanted to. And so we went back up there, and we were sitting on top of the mountain, and you could see satellites.
Yeah.
And the space station would come by every now and then, And so we're just sitting there, and we're kind of sitting on the back of the tailgate of her car. She had an Aztec, Pontiac Aztec. And we're sitting there, and we're kind of watching
Walter
everything.
White's car.
Yeah. And she loved the doggone thing. I actually liked it too, but I'm weird as far as cars are concerned, so it's understandable. But and we're watching things, it's like, and here comes this like meteorite or something, like it was going this way, and it was like, oh look, there's something, and you just see it enter like this, and it stops and changes and goes that direction, just like makes a solid 90-degree turn, and I'm like,
at speed, it didn't slow down.
It just goes like that. I mean, never slowed down, and it looked like if you're a fan of Star Trek, it looked like a Star Trek ship, basically dropping out of warp, changing course and taking off in warp again. To me, that's what it looked like, and I'm just like, did you see that? She goes, yep. I said, I think it's time to go. She goes, yeah.
Where are you gonna go?
It's like,
where are you gonna go?
I don't know. It's just like, at that point we were ready to go. So we hopped back in the car and drove home. My nephew was fast asleep or whatever. But that was when I changed my mind, because it's just like, I've never seen anything in nature just come in, make a right turn and go. And it entered like it was it's like it entered just like a meteor, or a little piece of debris or something, and it left reverse of how it entered.
I'll be darned.
And I was just like, okay, I might be wrong, so. But
what do you have in your pipe?
Strangely enough, I didn't smoke a pipe at that point, so yeah. But just different. You see little things, and you see odd things, odd vehicles a lot. I just see people do odd shit.
The Cannonball Run.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
I bet that was cool.
Yeah, they were running out of L.A. going to Florida, I think, that year.
Oh, really?
So, I don't know if it was the actual Cannonball, but it was one of those races.
Oh, one of the cross country
driving
races.
down the road, and a Porsche flows. I'm in the right lane out in Arizona by Phoenix, just west of Phoenix, about halfway between Quartzsite and Phoenix there.
Oh yeah.
I'm driving along. This was back in probably around 09, 10, 11, somewhere along in there. I'm driving along, and Porsche passed me on the shoulder because there was a truck in the left lane, or somebody's in the left lane. Come on the shoulder, blowing by me doing 150 or better. I mean, crazy speed.
Hauling ass.
I'm out there doing 70, and this thing just, like I was sitting still, right on by. And then shortly after, here comes a Aston Martin and a Ferrari, and by then the left lane was open, and holy shit! So I'm sitting there watching in the mirror, and here they come flying by, and I'm like, I didn't have a camera or anything back then, I think we had flip phones that had a real cheap.
Real cheap.
Anyway, I don't know.
So.
But the radio really picked up the CB and everything, and guys started talking about it. That's some Cannonball guys, and they're having a race right now, and they're racing from, and it wasn't just like coast to coast nonstop.
Yeah.
They would go from point A to point. I think they were going to Tucson. and then stop for the night. And then, and then it was a timed thing, you know, and then take off again. But you know, they had numbers on the doors, just like your Cannonball Run, you know, all the sponsors and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know who would want to sponsor that because it's highly illegal.
Well, nobody. The very first Cannonball Run, nobody wanted to sponsor it because it was highly illegal. But it was a protest for the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Is that where it started?
Yeah, that's where it started. It started with Brock Yates, and of course I may just end the video just ripped off here at this point, but because we're getting off on another subject. So if I do end it here, you know.
Anyway, so that's where
it started off with Brock Yates, and Brock Yates just kind of he decided that it was ridiculous to have a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. Nobody wanted to cross country doing 55 miles an hour. Yeah. So he decided to protest it by holding the Cannonball Run and got a bunch of people together.
Okay.
And
now it's just turned into millionaires with Ferraris and stuff.
Well,
like
and
that.
I think probably what you saw was more like there's this guy on YouTube called Super Speeder Rob, I think, and he had videos at one point. They were going out and making videos where they were running as fast as they could and were trying not to get stopped by the police.
Okay.
And they were out running the police and stuff. Yeah.
Dozen or 15 cars past me.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that.
And it probably wasn't the Cannonball Run itself, but it was one of those kind of
something
races.
like that. Yeah. So,
and I think they'd left LA and they're going to Tucson, spend the night, and then they were going to go to San Antonio, spend the night, and then to somewhere in Florida, and then down to Miami. That's what the scuttlebutt on the radio was.
Okay.
Now, who knows? I mean, truck driver.
I know.
Truck driver on a TV. What you always want to rely on is a truck driver on a CB. It's gospel.
Yeah.
In other words, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
That's true.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think that's what that is. It's like, okay.
So.
But those,
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's it.
That's it?
Yeah, so we'll probably stay here.
We wasted enough of these people's time.
I don't know how much time we've actually talked, but this may end up being 2 or 3 videos. I might have to cut it down and just like go here. But anyway, but guys, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. So, to all the stands people, well, you're not putting this on.
I don't think this is going to be on my channel.
Well, anyway,
I'm recording, but
just in case.
Backup for you.
Yeah, but anyway, so I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. Thanks to Stan for always having me out and enjoying sitting around swapping stories and everything. And that's what we're going to continue to do because I got more stories I want to tell them that I don't want you guys to know. Anyway, so
you talk about levelers now, huh?
Oh yeah. Anyway, thanks guys. You know the drill. Keep shining side up.
Take care.
See you down the road.
Ciao. Did I do that right?
You did.
All right. Yay.